Aye. Any other questions? Yes. Jonathan first, then Dave.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry, Leslie. I didn't realize you had the mic. Sorry about that, Dave. I saw the hand first.
David, you mentioned that a couple of board members weren't here because they're also pension and health plan trustees in our meeting now. Is that the SAG plan and the AFTRA? Well, the current so-called SAG producers pension and health plan, and also at AFTRA?
No,
just at
just
SAG.
SAG.
And are they meeting at this point to start discussing what to do next?
Regularly scheduled pension and health meeting, and the trustees are there, but for those who are here in this room we had a little something that we wanted to take care of this afternoon. But they're there, and now with this moment, the trustees of the pension and health plans will most certainly begin the process of thinking about next steps.
Yeah, I'd like to follow up on that answer, David. I mean, what kind of time frame would you estimate at this point for the possible merger of the SAG and AFTRA plans?
I love a good reporter. I think that today we're focused on celebrating the merger of the unions. And for dealing with the plans and really so many other issues that face us as a united force, we're going to begin that process. But we don't have much more to say about it at this time. David White, easy to remember.
That's David White. Yes, another question from KFI.
Yeah, David, I guess from a logistics standpoint, when will we see impacts of the merger? I mean, like offices merging and staffing, and when will we see the logistics, the impact of the logistics, and might staff people lose their jobs as a result of this?
Yeah, you notice what they give to the woman to handle. Frankly, on day one, on Monday morning, after everybody has had a weekend, is going to look very much like Friday did. We have two very large operations. Our staff has to come in on Monday morning and continue to process the residuals, handle the claims, answer the questions that they were dealing with on Friday. So we have a great leadership team that is going to be working through the integration and transition of the two organizations. There's a lot of work for everybody to do, and so we know that it will be an organic process that will take some time as we integrate the two operations, so we don't have a specific timeline, but it will be evolving over the next couple of years. Yes, that's a good point. We have actually had a team that has been working on some of the transition issues. So, for example, we're going to have to open the doors on Monday morning as SAG-AFTRA. There's been a lot of work so that we can open the doors as a new union on Monday and answer questions and help members in all of their work, and producers who are putting up production. So we do have a team that's working on both the short-term and the long-term transition. Well, that's one of the things in the transition team. The good news is that we've actually had a lot of work that's been done in advance so that people will be communicating with each other to avoid any duplication. And we've had a great group of people who've worked through a number of those questions to avoid those kinds of problems.
Kim, Amy and I would like to say one thing.
Yeah.
We just want the members to know they're going to get one bill. One single bill's due.
That's right. And that our financial staffs have been working on for a while, so that, because it goes out right away. So that is coming up, and it'll be one bill.
For the record, that was Amy Aquino, Aquino, Co-Secretary Treasurer, SAG-AFTRA, and Matt Kimbrough, Kimbrough, Co-Secretary Treasurer, SAG-AFTRA. Any other questions? Yes, let's rock it for the Secretary Treasurers. Leslie? Ryan Nakashima?
When's the next contract negotiation that the combined union will face, and how might this?
First major contract negotiation is the commercial negotiations, which have an early start this October. That is a national agreement, and we will be hard at work on preparation for that after the big weekend off. Because unions invented the weekend. One thing, that is the first national contract, but of course we have local and station contracts that are ongoing, so we're hitting the ground running.
Will we handle it any differently this time?
Will we handle it any differently this time? Well, for one thing, we'll have one committee instead of two, we'll have one chair instead of two, we'll have one set of negotiators instead of two, and we'll have one contract instead of two. It will cost us half as much.
And following up on that, Jonathan Handel, Hollywood Reporter again, following up on that, one of the objections that folks who, this relatively small number of folks who opposed the merger made was that they were concerned that the negotiating strategy of the new union might not be as firm with management as they thought that it ought to be. And I'm curious, and this is going to be a difficult commercials negotiation because of a possible restructuring of the kind of formulas, so-called gross rating points, and the growth of non-union commercials work. What sort of, and the industry is going to be looking for signals. What is this new union? What sort of signal, and how are you going to send it?
Well, I would hate to start talking about our negotiating strategy at the opening press conference. I understand that there are people who are concerned about our negotiating approach, as there have always been people who disagree on how we negotiate. But we are going to be speaking with one voice, and of course, as always, we are going to try to bring in all members who work this contract to have this conversation, not just part of them. And we'll also have more leverage.
Yeah, last question. Is there a last question? Okay, the last question. Yes, one more from KPCC.
Okay, so the vast majority of actors actually don't get to work that often. So for the work-a-day or barely work-a-day actor, what can they expect?
The work-a-day, you're a work-a-day actor.
There's two different questions. One was about actors who don't work a whole lot, and the other was about workaday actors, people who work a lot. So I don't understand your question.
Okay, so a lot of SAG members don't really, make the big bucks and have a job 40 hours a week or just barely get to work every year. So how does the change affect the reality for those people?
Well, let me put it this way. Working actors who are out there, leaving out the very tiny, small percentage of superstars who make extraordinary amounts of money, are really dependent on the revenue that comes in, the kinds of salaries they get when they do get salaries. And our belief is that we'll be able to be much stronger at the bargaining table as one union in dealing with in commercials and also in TV theatrical. And down the line, what that means is you are funding everyone more. It's all relative. In terms of it, not to be too flippant, it reminds me of the old joke where the guy's going into surgery and he says to the doctor after the surgery, "Will I be able to play the violin?" And the guy said, "Absolutely, hands will be fine." He said, "Good, because I could never play it before." So we can only improve so many things. But I think we can improve the levels of salary and possible protections, in the way we're doing. And all boats rise is really the idea. Thanks.
And just to follow up a little bit, we've been in a situation until today where we're spending money on this duplication. We're just wasting dues dollars. All that money can now be put into organizing and creating more work. There's massive amounts of work out there, and not all of it is union. And so that we can go after, and that we can really focus on now as one union.
Okay, thank you all very much for coming. See our press staff on the way out. We have a SAG-AFTRA press kit, and in that, you'll find a tip sheet that will let you know who everyone up here is with photos, photo tip sheet. So thank you all very much. Great day.